Hello Stampers, it's Amy here from Stampin' Magic. Today I have for you quite a fun, interesting card. It's black and white, gives it a kind of classic-y kind of look, but it's a Z fold card, I think they're called. So you see it folds out and opens like this. And on it we've got some heat embossing here, we've got just some gemstones and this really lovely new trim that we have. I think it's just gorgeous. So like I said, it's black and white, so it's very simple, but it does give that kind of elegant feel, which I think is quite cute for a card every now and then. Okay, so let's get started. You'll need 2 stamp sets for this card. The first one being Woodwords. This set I love, and it comes in a bundle with the crates, Finlets, which is really fab set to have. It's really fun to make some little treats with. But today we're going to be using this floral stamp here. It's really nice for backgrounds. I just love using this one. So many different ways you can use it. The other one you'll need is a sentiment. This can be any sentiment you like. I'm using the Happy Birthday one. And this is in the Better Together stamp set. This does come in 2 parts, so this pack is part 2 of 2. And you get, obviously, 1 and 2. So there's so many in there, and they're all really good sizes as well to have a sentiment as a focal piece. You'll also need some Versamark ink, and this is for our heat embossing. You'll need some Memento black ink. You'll need an embossing buddy and some Stampin' Emboss powder, which I've got the white here. And you'll also need the vintage trim, and this is gorgeous. This is in our new autumn winter catalogue as part of a kind of Halloween suite, but I think it's absolutely gorgeous. You can see there, it's very delicate looking, it's really lovely. So you need some of that. For your card base, it needs to be C6 size, and it's top folding, which we're going to turn horizontal, and then you score and fold one side of it again, and that's what creates your Z fold. And you'll also need 2 black panels in basic black cardstock and some Smooth Whisper white. The measurements for these will be on my blog, so do check the link below in the description bar. It'll have all the measurements for you in inches and centimetres. And you also need a heat embossing tool. This one's not Stampin' Up. Stampin' Up does sell them. I purchased this before I even knew about Stampin' Up, and it's fantastic. I don't know what I'll do about it. I love heat embossing. I love the effect it gives. So to use the embossing powders and get that effect, you'll need a heat embossing tool. Okay, so I'm getting my smallest black panel and some scrap paper. And I'm just going to make sure that's folded a bit. And then I'm going to get the embossing buddy and cover the whole area that I'll be stamping on with the Versamark ink. This basically stops the powder sticking to areas you don't want it to. It's kind of an anti-static. And don't worry, you can probably see it looks all powdery at the moment. That does brush off easy, so you won't have that permanently on the card. Just make sure there's plenty all over the area. We need to bring in our Versamark ink and our stamp, and we're going to ink it up in the Versamark ink. Okay, with this, because we're going to have a panel over this part, as you can see here, we stick this panel here, so we only need to worry about the edges, so we can keep this free of embossing powder, and we can use that to hold so we don't burn our fingers. Okay, I think that'll be fine. So we can pop the Versamark ink away. Okay, so we're going to be using the middle bit to hold. So as you can see, that's kind of a watermark effect at the moment. Then we bring in the embossing powder. And like I said, this is the white embossing powder, so it's going to contrast really nicely with the black. you just want to powder that all over. Get rid of that. Let's use that. And then you gently tap it off. Okay, so then you'll have this kind of effect here. Now what we need to do is we need to kind of scoop this back in, and this is where I always like sneeze or something and it goes everywhere. Okay, that's good. I didn't spill it everywhere today. Okay, now we're going to heat emboss this. So what you want to do is, just in case you can't hear me, I'll tell you now, is we're going to heat this up for a few seconds just to make sure it gets nice and hot. And we're going to do circle motions over the pattern, and you'll see it change from that kind of grady effect to really, really glossy and smooth. So we'll give that a go now. So that's nice and hot, and we're going to run it over the back first because the card does warp. And then we're going to go from corner in nice circular motion. And you can kind of just see it start to change and become bright white. And that's the effect you're looking for. So when you know it's melted. You don't want to heat it too much because it will actually sink back into the cardstock and you won't get that nice raised effect. You do want to leave it for a couple of seconds before you touch it because it will still be a little bit wet. There's been times I've picked it up thinking it'll dry straight away and it's smudged. So just to give you a warning there. But look how glossy and beautiful that is. Okay, that should be dry enough. You can gently, I normally gently just rub over it and get rid of any of that talcum powder that's left. So I think that's a really, really pretty effect. Okay, so we're bringing back in our scrap paper. The other thing we're doing with Stampin' is we're going to use our black Memento ink now. And I'm going to get the happy birthday sentiment and I'm going to stamp that down. Not the wrong way up. Okay, so I'm going to do it slightly off center because I want to have the really nice floral pattern down here. So off center about there. That's really nice. And then I'm going to bring in the floral. That's nice and inked up. Okay, so this side I want quite a lot of it showing. So I'm going to stamp it there. I'm going to turn it round, and this side I just want a little bit of it catching the corner there. So I'm going to ink that bit up. Like so. So we can pop that away. Okay, I'm going to bring in my other black panel I have, and I'm going to glue this onto here so it's got a nice little border. So get in the Tombow glue. It's got a nice border all the way around. That looks really pretty. Okay, next we're going to get some tear and tape, and on the trim it's got a very small kind of bit that you can stick with, which is actually wider than the tear and tape, but I'll show you what I've done. I've basically lined half of it down like so. Ooh, without sticking it to that. I've got my snips. I don't normally like using my snips for adhesive surfaces, but my other ones are very clogged with glue at the moment, so I'm going to use these and clean them. And then you're left with a thin strip that you can use for the bottom bit. Okay. Now if you get your bone folder and just burnish those down, it makes it easier for them to come up. I've got a little pokey tool here, and these just help if you use the corner to raise those up. Okay, this is where you bring in your trim. Kind of want to line this up to the edge of the cardstock, and then you'll get a small amount of the design hanging over. And I thought this just gave it a really nice elegant feel. When I made it originally, I didn't have this on, and I just felt it was really missing something. And then all I did was go back over and burnish that down onto there. So you know now that that's stuck down. And you repeat the same for the bottom. Okay, so that panel's ready. Now we're just going to want to put our nice embossed panel down on here. So for that I'm going to use Tombow. You can use fast fuse or tear and tape, whatever adhesive you prefer on this. I'm going quite close to the edge because the cardstock is warped slightly. I'm hoping that will help keep that down. Okay, and then we're just going to place that in the middle with a bit of an edge in. So it's got a nice white border for this piece. Now we want to attach this. Again, I'm going to use Tombow to attach this, and you're just basically making it central to the whole panel, and then that'll be even over here. So you want to kind of pinpoint like this and only put adhesive on the one side. I kind of know it's like about there. And again, you can use any adhesive you want. I've used Tombow because some of this is raised, so it will help stick it better. You want it about here. And then you just, oops, give it a nice border all the way around, as even as you can get it. And then open it out and flatten that. And then that's your Z fold with your panel on. Now the last things I did put on there were some rhinestones. So I'm going to pick the smaller rhinestones. You get kind of a mixture of the large, medium and small. So I'm just going to get 3 and pop 2 up this end, just in the centre of these flowers. And this one down here. And that is the card finished. I think it's just really simple, fun fold that's kind of got an elegant classic look to it, being so black and white. And you've got the nice kind of the gloss and the shimmer of the embossing, and then you've got some rhinestones and trim to help bring all that kind of elegant feel together. And you can decorate the inside, or you can continue this pattern around here. That is up to you. I didn't want to overdo it too much with the pattern because there is a lot of it there already. But that's our card for today. If you liked this card, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And let me know if you give it a go or if you try it in different colours, and let me know what you think. Hope you have a lovely day. See you next time. Bye.